Why are you Shehbaaz?
Great question. I am Shehbaaz because of my parents.
All right.
My parents did a well job raising me. They raised me well. Um, yeah, I am Shehbaaz because of my parents, man. Shout out to my parents.
Big shout out to your parents.
Yeah, shout out to my parents, man. Like, I don't know, man. That's all I can really say. I think like they did a really good job raising me. Um, I don't know. They taught me to respect my elders and just be a good person. And so everything, bro. I think this like sometimes I see other people, I see how they treat their parents and things like that. And so family's family at the end of the day, no
Right.
matter what. And so yeah.
You
Love
know
my
what?
parents.
You know what the theme of this whole episode is going to be is you always catch me off guard. I swear, man. Like you're the first guest who to say anything about like I'm this way because my parents. Shout out my parents. Like that. That alone is remarkable. I gotta tell the audience, okay. The first time I heard your music, the first time I heard Shehbaaz was a track. Well, first of all, I heard 3 AM in Palestine, and I was like, that's sick. That's amazing. We'll get to that in a second.
Thank you, brother.
But the second time I heard Shehbaaz, Jordan Kyle, shout out Jordan, he was playing a song where you were like rapping at first and then like kind of singing, and then you just start fucking screaming.
yeah,
Right?
yeah. It's like my signature.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what? Wait, hold on. What the fuck is? And it was good. It wasn't like bad. I was like, holy shit, like this is phenomenal. I don't know if you ever heard that one Future song with Kendrick Lamar where he goes,
oh yeah.
That's what that was like for me, that moment. And then
caught you off guard. Exactly. You're like, whoa, what is that?
And everything since, ever since I followed you on Instagram, I'm like, man, like I can't predict what he's gonna do next. So I like that. Well, so walk me through how am I inaccurate? Am I wrong? Like, what do you think about my assessment of you?
Nah, it's pretty accurate, man. I think like that's what I try to do with the music, you know what I mean? And the music, I'll be honest, there's like no strategy behind it. I'm not like behind the scenes of saying like, oh, I'm gonna do this or this verse, and I just kind of go with the flow, and I just try to do what I do. And so with the music, it's like I love music, I've been making music like my whole life. But music is like it's not like necessarily like who I am, or like when you say like, oh, who is Shehbaaz, like it's not like I wouldn't say like I'm an artist or like artist first, right? I'm definitely an artist, but I wouldn't say like I'm an artist first, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of things of like who is Shehbaaz, right? And so it's like I would first have to like give respect to my parents and say like they
shaped who you are.
Exactly, they molded me, and so that's who I would say is Shehbaaz, and then all these other things come later on, right? Secondary, right? So like some people might just be like, oh, who are you, right? They'd be like, oh, well, I'm a civil engineer, I'm a doctor, and so they have these titles of like who they are, but that's not really who they are. That's just their profession, you know what I mean? So how I see it, I'm a nobody, bro. I'm just a soul, and I'm just here to enjoy my life and have fun and just do dope shit, like make music.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like where I'm at right now, is just like when it comes to the music and you hear like these random pockets in the music where like I'm screaming and stuff, I'm just there to have fun, bro. Like when it comes to music, like I said, there's no strategy. I just like go on the track and I make music because I just want to make dope shit that I can listen to and that like I like.
Yeah.
So like if you look at my Spotify, it's not to be conceited or anything, but it's like I just be listening to my own music a lot of times.
Dude.
I know a lot of artists do that. They don't say that. They won't tell you that, but they do.
I can't post my top 5 because I am in my fucking I'm number 1.
Yeah, bro. That's good. That's how it should be, bro. You should be your number 1 fan,
Absolutely, man. So walk me back then. I love the answer of like, look, when you ask somebody, who are you? And they're like, oh, I'm an engineer. I'm this. People rush to like almost validate themselves in a second.
Yeah.
But before we get to that though, what I really want to know is how did you discover making music? Like that you wanted to make music. When did that come into your life?
That's a great question, man. So I'm the youngest out of 4, right? Okay. And so all of my influences come from my siblings too, right? Not just my parents. And so they listened to hip hop. You know, we grew up on like Pac, Bone Thugs, 3 6 Mafia, all like a lot of like great artists, and so that kind of molded me. You know, to be honest, I was just listening to whatever my siblings were listening to. So when I was like very young, I would say like even in like kindergarten, first grade, I was listening to Pac, and I just wanted to be Pac. I just wanted to like I remember I was like in Little League, and they gave us like hats and stuff, and they're like, okay, guys, write your names on the hats, so you know, like you know who's hats who's, you know. So I wrote Tupac on my hat. Yeah, I don't know, man. I was just a young kid, right? And so
Damn,
that's
fire.
that's how I got
so
into
good.
music, and I just wanted to be Tupac, and so I was just like writing raps, you know, and like obviously I was like what, like second grader,
What were
you know.
those raps about?
I don't know, bro. Honestly, I'm just not me, not my life. I don't know, but like I was just like writing whatever sounded cool, you know, and then I just started writing and writing, and I just kept writing. I never stopped, and then like in sixth grade, I went to like this private school,
Hmm.
and I met my homie D Dot Jones. Have you heard of D Dot
I have
Jones?
heard of D. Jones.
Yeah, shout out
Yeah.
to D. Jones.
Shout out D.
But yeah, we were just like sitting there. We were just like eating lunch. I don't know if he remembers this, but we're just like, yo, let's start a band. And I didn't know how to play any instruments, anything like that. And I was just like rap. And we were like, yeah, for sure, let's do it. We never did it, but we just ended up just doing our own thing. We just like started making music and stuff. D Dot was like a wizard when it came to like GarageBand. And so we're just making music, and I wasn't like recording anything. I wasn't producing. I wasn't doing any of that. I was just like writing. Um, and then like I think like seventh grade, I got my first like laptop. It was like a broken laptop for my sister. She was like in college or whatever.
Yeah.
Long story short, she like one of her like roommates spilled coffee on it or something. His keyboard wasn't working. So, but everything else was working. So I just got a USB keyboard and just like started making. And then I got like Mixcraft. It's just like a knockoff GarageBand, and I started recording. And then I was like, next thing you know, you know what I mean? I was just like rapping into the little microphone that the laptop had, the built-in
Yeah.
one, and I put a beanie over it to get that like to remove those
To
like
get that filter.
exactly, yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
That's insane, bro.
So I just figured it out, bro.
So you like, but to me, that means like you really wanted to make it good.
Pioneer, man.
Yeah, you're a pioneer for it. So then, when did you start taking it? Because I know you say you do it for fun, right? But to me, you don't want a good product if you don't take it at least a little bit seriously.
Yeah, 100%. I do take it seriously. You know what I mean? I take it really seriously.
When did that change happen for you?
That's a good question. When did that change happen for me? Um, I would say like maybe in high school. You know what I mean? Like I think like when you have music and you know as like a middle schooler, as a high schooler, it's obviously not polished, and I didn't find my sound. I was listening to
Boy,
other
do I know
artists.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you kind of like just kind of grow into it and you develop your sound. And I feel like I was always serious because you have to be serious enough to like get a like a beanie over your microphone and all of that. And so I was just like, I just wanted to make some cool stuff, man. And most importantly, I think like I think when I started making music, I just wanted to make music that made people feel good and made people feel heard. And like I think like from my personal experience, like people say this all the time. It's very common where people say like, "Oh, music saved my life," right? And it's true. Like you listen to an artist and you relate to them, and like I think like growing up, just like a lot of like teenagers, they're like very depressed, very anxious, and so like very suicidal when I was growing up. And so
Sorry to hear that.
yeah, man, it's good, man. You know I'm so thankful, bro. I like you know I'm loving life, you know, and like it's crazy where I'm at right now, but um yeah, and so like let's say like let's say like there's a kid who's really depressed, right? And he's listening to an artist. I really resonated with like Kid Cudi, and his music like really motivated me. You know what I mean? And I was like, you know what? Like this is uplifting me. This is, you know, you're reaching out to kids, and kids are just like, yo, you saved my life. And so I was just like, yo, I want to do that.
Hmm.
And so I would say like maybe like seventh grade, or I don't know, maybe seventh grade when I was like listening to Man on the Moon.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, that was like his first like actual album, Man on the Moon. And so yeah, that's when I was like, all right, this is it.
100%, man. It's funny because we were talking off camera about the importance of an artist, right? And that when you get this platform, it's so crucial for me, my opinion, to not take it for granted. You know what I mean? And what you just said about like Kid Cudi saving your life and that you wanted to be that for other people. That's huge, man. That was that the influence, not influence, but the motivation behind your song 3 a.m. in Palestine. Because when I heard that, I heard an artist who cares about something.
For sure, yeah, man. Like, and like we were saying it off camera, you know, like there's some artists that kind of like they're just making music and stuff, but like, and it's dope music. But like, for me, like, I want to make dope music, but I also want to have like
Message.
a message, right? And like, I want my lyrics to mean something. And there's also songs where you don't, you know, you just want to have fun, you know, you just want to make like some bangers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, 3 a.m. in Palestine, bro. Like, I obviously, you know, what's going on right now. It's just like, it's devastating. It's heartbreaking. It's even hard to really describe. Like, it's very sad. And so I grew up like, you know, this whole thing has been going on before me,
Right.
you know, before my parents. And so, um, as like a Muslim American, I grew up like I knew what was going on. Like a lot of kids, like your average kid doesn't know about Palestine. Like people are finding out about it like right now.
Yeah, because of social media and stuff.
Exactly.
Like that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I always knew about it. I was always speaking up about it. Like I remember in high school, I did like a little studio broadcast things for the school. So I had like my own segment. I was wearing a Free Palestine hoodie, and like a teacher snitched on me and told the principal and all that. They told me I couldn't wear it. And so
That's crazy.
So yeah, man, I've been always like very passionate about it. And when it comes to like, obviously this is more of like a humanitarian issue, and it doesn't matter like, because it's not only Muslims that are affected, but because a majority of Muslims are affected, it hits deeper. You know, it's a different thing. You know what I mean? So it's like you care about something to a different level than the next person because of like your connection to that, right? So I care about all life. I care about, you know, all people that are going through oppression, but just because, and this is the reality, just because they are Muslim, I care like just naturally. I care a lot.
Yeah.
And it really like,
because it resonates with you.
it does. Yeah. It breaks my heart. You know what I mean? Any Muslim around the world or any human going around the, like dealing with oppression, you know? So that was my influence for the song. Honestly, like on the way, I made that song with Jordan Kyle. Shout out to Jordan Kyle. He produced that song. And so on the way there, I think this is like a couple months after October 7th. And so I was going to his house, you know what I mean? I was driving out, and then it was just like something in my soul, you know what I mean? I was just like, I was going to go there and I was going to make some like, I don't know, some trap music and stuff. And I was just like, you know,
something clicked.
Something clicked. Yeah. And I was just like, really like we all were going through it, you know, and it was a tough time. And I was just like, yeah, this is what's going to happen. I was like, why rap about something else when this is like,
what's going on and what's weighing heavily on your soul.
Yeah, and it just came naturally, man. It just came naturally.
Man, I'm curious for that song in today's political climate, man. Like people are so like radical on not everybody, but on social media, it makes it seem like people are either radical on that side or this side. So I'm curious, have you lost any? Not that you care or don't care, but have you lost any friends, family members, in due to you putting out that song? Any backlash?
No, man. You know, I haven't. I know some people, I know a lot of people, like, you know, they'll tell me stories like, you know, I have this friend and that friend, and, you know, and like they spoke up about it, and, you know, they're no longer friends and things of that sort. Me personally, I have not.
That's awesome.
And it goes back to like me growing up with that mindset of like Free Palestine, you know, and so I never in the first place, I never surrounded my people who were okay with oppressing the Palestinian people. I never ever surrounded. And if I did, even before October 7th, even like whatever, like even if I was like 10 years old, didn't know anything. I just know people were dying. Like I never sided with those people. I never kept them in my circle, any of that. You know what I mean? And like you grow up with people, you know, you grow up with people who are like that, you know, maybe in school or something like that.
But they're not your friends.
They're not my friends, yeah. And so in today's climate, man, it's just kind of crazy to me, you know, it doesn't matter like whatever side you're on, whatever you believe in, like you should accept that like doing this to like innocent woman, children on like whatever side and whatever side of the planet, whatever
Yeah.
wherever you are, is just wrong.
100%.
It's wrong, bro. And like it's crazy that that's like controversial and you can't speak up about it.
If you were to tell a story, removing religion, removing like the country name, you just tell the story and you describe like the scene that's going on, I would assume, like you said, most people would just look at that and say, man, that's not right. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that anything is controversial to support, just, hey, I don't want people to die. Right?
Yeah.
The fact that that's controversial is ridiculous. But something I want to touch on, you said, you know, you didn't associate yourself with those people. I'm curious, man. Like, you strike me as a very confident guy. Okay. So
thank you. No, I'm just yeah, sometimes, man.
Okay. Now I had a question, now I have another question. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, man, I'm just like a regular person, bro. Like I think every single human being, like I think I'm confident in certain ways, but I'm also like very insecure.
Okay.
I'm like an insecure person. I was always like that. You know what I mean? I think like it kind of goes into like my depression, like past depression and stuff. I think I'm at a stage right now where it's like I'm definitely confident, but like every human being deals with insecurities in different ways. Like there's no single human being that's like that says like I'm not insecure.
Right.
That's just wrong. Everyone's insecure about something. It's just about how you manage those insecurities.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I'm the most insecure guy I know.
Let's go.
Dude, so I love how you put that. I do want to talk about depression. I was diagnosed with clinical depression when I was 14 years old. And I can remember distinctly, like, before I even knew what that was, like, just, like, feeling physical pain all the time, feeling, like, tired no matter how much, like, I had slept. It was just like, what the fuck is this feeling? It happened right after a breakup. And everyone was telling me, oh, you know, you're not X, Y, and Z before they ever knew what depressed was. You just went through a breakup.
It's a new concept, yeah.
Yeah. So my question is, when did you find out you're living with depression?
Maybe in high school, man. Maybe in high school.
What was that like for you?
It was tough, bro. It was tough. It's just like I feel like a lot of people go through it. You know, you just feel bad about yourself.
Mm.
You know, you feel bad about the way you look. You feel like you're better off like not being here.
Right.
You know, and that's like a constant struggle, bro. I feel like if you deal with clinical depression, you know, it's just like a lot of that is like you deal with it the rest of your life. Hopefully not. You know, it comes in waves, right?
I was just about to say it comes in waves. You
Yeah.
do live with it for life. I never took medication. Not to take it off of what you were saying, but I never took medication because the doctor, thank God, thank whatever, like this doctor was very transparent about what the medication was going to do to me. And I felt like that was only going to make it worse. And I felt like I wanted to be dependent on whatever my body has to offer, whatever my brain has to offer, right? I know that that's not the case for everybody, but I felt like, okay, if we're going to fight this fight, let's fight it with what we got. Let's try not to use armor or pills or, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So you were saying that it was tough. I know that you were talking about, you know, Kid Cudi got you through, that Kid Cudi's album really got you through that. What I'm curious about is, what are some other things that helped you along your journey with depression?
Having a good support system.
Okay.
You know, like you said, you know, this is a fairly new concept, you know, and like with like people back home, you know, like it's not like a thing. You
They
know
don't
what I
believe
mean?
in
It's
it,
like,
right?
yeah, exactly. It's like, or it's just like, oh, you're sad, you know? Um, I'm so sorry. What was the question?
No. How did you? Because you said Kid Cudi helped you through depression,
Yeah.
right? So what are some other
Mm.
things that helped you through depression? You said a good support system.
Yeah, good support system. Sorry, I was.
It's all good.
Good support system. I think like having my parents, like, you know, I told them what was going on, you know,
Hmm.
and it was a tough time for them too, you know, having like a son that is dealing with like suicidal thoughts,
Right.
you know, it breaks their heart. But yeah, having like good support system, having my parents, music obviously was there. But it kind of, it's weird, man. Sometimes music like helps you, sometimes it doesn't. Like I hate to
Sometimes it
say it.
hurts. Yeah.
Sometimes it just makes you more depressed, bro. And like it really just depends what type of music you're listening to. So
Yeah.
if you're listening to music where you're like, oh, I want to kill myself, it's like it's gonna make you feel like that.
Right.
You know?
Music is powerful, man. It's supposed to invoke a feeling, and I mean, there are songs where, because I'm a huge advocate for trying to fight depression, right? And that's something that I talk about in my music a lot, is like fighting through mental struggle. But there are songs where I just straight up sound like I'm giving up. But to me, like, that is the purpose of the song.
Yeah.
Like you said,
That's you.
yeah,
And you have every right to like put that on a song, you have every right to like express your emotions on a song, and like even if it's like unfiltered, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
a lot of the music like I would make in the past, like because I'm not dealing with that right now, but a lot of the music I would make in the past was just like really depressing,
hmm
like really like oh I want to off myself and like
yeah.
this and that,
Man, when you say you're not dealing with that right now, what I want to know is, what is Shehbaaz on right now? Like, what's your wave? What's your sound? Like, what, if you can try to describe it? Because like I said, you're not all over the place, but you're surprising, right? If you could describe the space that you're in right now, how would you describe it?
like music wise.
Music wise, yeah, or even in life, whichever you prefer.
Yeah, it's hard to say music wise, man. I'm all over the place. I'm just like trying to make some dope stuff. So like I'll hear something and I'll be like, yo, man, this is dope. I want to try making like some of this type of music. But yeah, essentially my music, man, is a lot of rap, a lot of like screaming. Um, and when you think of screaming, you're like you might think of like metal, but it's not like metal in that way. It's
No,
more of like hype type of music.
I agree with that.
And then one of my friends, DEO, Jordan's manager,
Yeah,
I was talking to him and he was just like telling me, like, I was just like telling him like during like the whole October 7th thing. And I was just like, we're talking about content. And he was like, yo, man, like, and I told him, I was like, yeah, man, like, he was telling me like, yo, you should make videos and stuff. And I was like, yeah, but I'm not like a political type of person. And he's just like, yo, man, but you make music that's like not necessarily like political, because I'm not, you don't see me as like a
a
that type of
political
guy, right?
person. Yeah,
Like I just talk about like what's going on in the world, but I make that type of music that like you can slap.
100%.
You know what I mean? That you can rock with. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that's how I see it. Is it's like it's not like a serious song. It is a serious song, but it's just like something that like you could turn up to.
right.
You know?
It's what I like about it is not that song, but your music in general. What I like about your music is you do have that approach of, look, I am engineering a song right now, right? I am crafting a song. So you have something to say, but you're making it in a way that's, people could, like you said, it's a slap. People can listen to it. When I heard it, I'm like, oh shit. I mean, it sounds, the message is what I thought it would be, but it doesn't sound like how I thought it would sound.
Yeah.
You see what
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So I'm curious, how do you find that balance of not getting too personal but still keeping your message?
Not getting too personal. I mean, there's like a boundary with everything, right? Like
Right.
there's always a boundary, like even with people, right? Like there's certain things that you say to people in
Mhm.
public and there's certain things that you don't say to people, right? I think when it comes to music, you kind of like sacrifice, at least for me, you like sacrifice all of that, right?
Yeah.
But there still is like a line, right? I'm not going to talk about personal things and like too personal things, you know what I mean? That I want to like keep concealed,
Right.
right? There's certain like I'll put like insecurities in my song, like certain insecurities that I'm dealing with, but like I won't put the ones that are like deepest darkest secrets, right?
Right.
But that's just like a sacrifice that you make, that's a decision that you make. Like, okay, I'm gonna make this music. I'm gonna be vulnerable on this song, and people are gonna hear it. Maybe not millions, maybe not right now. Hopefully later down the line, right?
Yeah.
But like people are gonna hear it. Maybe even like you put it on Spotify. Maybe like 10,000, 20,000, whatever. Even like 100.
Mm.
100 people are gonna listen to your song and be like, "Oh wow, Shehbaaz is vulnerable about this. Shehbaaz is like insecure."
Yeah.
People would not like maybe if I told people like, "Oh, I'm insecure," maybe they wouldn't believe it. You know what I mean? So
Right.
um
I'll tell you what, I was shocked when you said that you're insecure. 'Cause off camera, you said you were camera shy, which we're gonna get to in a second. But
yeah, I'm shaking over here, bro.
I thought that was the monster. Honestly,
It might be, yeah.
no, but yeah. So like when you said you were insecure, that did strike me as surprising. Because but I have a bias. When I think of insecure, I think of like a younger version of myself, like 5'7" dude, a little chubby, right? has trouble socializing, period. I'm like, oh man, like I sound insecure versus like every time I've ever heard you ever, whether you're talking or on a track, I'm like, this guy exudes confidence, right? You're like Johnny Depp, man, Johnny Depp is probably a terrible example.
Jack Sparrow.
Jack Sparrow. There you go.
I'd love to be Jack Sparrow, bro. The actual Jack Sparrow was like a Muslim pirate or something like that. I don't know, man. Check it out. I don't know. Do the research.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fire.
Yeah.
That's fire.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
It's dope, man.
Shout out Disney. Disney probably didn't know that. But man. So what I want to know is, how do you approach a song? Like, do you write a song right then and there on the spot, or do you take a couple days? Like, what do you do?
I suck at writing songs, bro. Like, I'll be honest, I suck, man. Like, I mean, I wouldn't say I suck, but
I was gonna
like,
say, come on.
if I'm looking at other artists, I'm like, bro, they're just like going at it, bro, and that's just like a different skill. You know what I mean? So, and it's a lot of it is just like it's not really necessarily talent; it's just practice, right?
Yeah.
And so, I primarily work with like Jordan Kyle, especially like these past few years, right?
Yeah.
He's produced like all my latest tracks, and so like we'll be in the studio, we'll make a beat. And I'll tell him like, hey, this is what I'm going for. This is what I want. There are times where like I'm writing, like if I'm like in the zone, I'll like write the whole song.
Right there. Okay.
Like we recently, a couple weeks ago, we made a song and I wrote everything right then and there. And there's times where like we'll make a beat, I'll take it home and I'll work on that song or like on and off for like a month.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll be like, okay, it's time. Okay, we need to wrap this up, right? And so I'll go to the studio and just like
do it right then and there.
Yeah.
Damn, man. I envy that ability right there. Because there are times where I'll go in and track, right? Like I'll like freestyle a melody, but like the actual words that come, I have to sit down and write it or like pay my weirdest quirk. I wonder if you have a quirk. I'm gonna share mine. And I want to know if you have one. My weirdest quirk is I'll like pace back and forth and I'll like mumble shit, but in my brain it's not mumbling. It's like actual words.
They're kind of like melodies and stuff.
Not melodies, like actual words. Because
I see, yeah.
What I do, man, is I write. Let's say a song starts at my verse starts at 1 minute and it goes to 1:45. I will, even if I've written all the way till 1:20, I will start all the way from the beginning again because my whole thing is I want it to flow how I think it's supposed to flow. So I have this quirk where I'll like pace back and forth, like, man, like, does this give me the feeling that I'm looking for? Whether it's energetic, sadness, whatever. So I'm curious, do you have like a quirk, like something that other people would look at, like, man, like that's a little abnormal when it comes to recording music?
Maybe not like in the writing sense. And I just want to ask you a question. So like when you're doing that, are you like freestyling and like coming up with stuff, or is it like already written?
Bro, it's I'm like freestyling essentially. I'll fucking show you right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And I'll just start rapping. I'll fucking do the little rapper hands. I can't rapper hands it, dude. It's fucking.
Do you like pace back and forth because you feel like it kind of gives you like some creativity? Like, because I feel like when I'm driving, bro, I got like the hardest bars, and then I go home and I try to sit down. I'm like, bro, nothing.
Dude.
When I'm driving, I got the hardest bars.
I have to write, not physically write. I'm not breaking any laws, but I gotta write in the car. I have to write in the car because I have to feel the bass. Like, think about it. Like, where do people usually listen to music? In their headphones and in the car, right? If you're at a party, sure. If you're cleaning your house, sure. But that's where the majority of people listen to music, right? So for me, I have to hear it in the car first and be like, all right, yeah, I fuck with it. It starts with the beat. Does the beat by itself even give me the feeling I'm going for? If it doesn't,
that's the first step, yeah.
I skip it. Or it'll make me feel something. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna write to it, and then I'll go and I'll try it. I'm like, ooh, my voice does not fit this. But that's where I turn into a writer. You know, like I've written songs for other like acts.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's dope.
Yeah. And to me, like that is probably my favorite thing to do in this space. I love making music. I love putting it out as myself. But what is the point of me keeping these words to myself if I can't be the one to sing it? If someone else, like, no one's going to hear it is what I'm getting at. You know, I want people to hear this. So even if that means like, look, I'll write the whole fucking song for you. I don't care if everyone knows I wrote it or not. I just want people to hear these words mixed in with this instrumental.
Yeah, no, that's what I noticed about your music. It's very like heavy. The lyrics are heavy on like they have substance.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not like and like it's cool to make music where it's just like you're saying whatever. Like not everybody needs to be lyrical and stuff, but like
Yeah.
your lyrics are dope, man. And like that's
Appreciate
something that I look at other artists and I'm like, oh wow, like their lyrics have like a lot of substance. You know.
Dude, it's super important to me. But what I love about this space, whether it's particularly hip hop though, there is a voice for everybody. The whole point of hip hop to me, especially when you think about Pac, right? Like you are speaking for people who sometimes can't speak for themselves for whatever reason, right? Whether it's oppression or maybe they're too nervous to speak for themselves, right? There is a reason their voice can't be heard, and you enter in the hip hop artist for that section of people. Now, the bigger the world gets, the more different genres of people there are. Like, for example, I'll give you the perfect one, mumble rap, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was not the biggest fan when it came out because I was insecure and I felt like insulted. Like, man, like, I'm putting all this time and effort into my bars. And this guy gets on and
it's not even like mixed and stuff like that. Yeah. It's just like, yeah.
Right. So I felt, but then I started growing up and I realized that they are speaking for a section of people who didn't feel heard before. And that's going to keep happening. You know, I'm not talking about culture vultures. I'm talking about people who we didn't even know existed until someone came on and did it well.
Yeah.
And now they have huge fan bases.
Yeah.
Who am I to hate on that, bro?
Yeah, they have a following for it. You know what I mean? There's always a pocket for something, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel like I might have derailed that question, but like I think you asked me I just had to ask you about your music and stuff, but like
I appreciate that.
Like you asked me about like is there any like quirks, right?
Yeah.
About my music or my songwriting or like the whole process. I wouldn't say necessarily or something that stands out, but like I would say my ad libs, bro. I think a lot of people can agree to that. Like I feel like, you know, when I talk about myself, I'm like, you know, I try to be like humble and be like, you know, yeah, it's whatever. Like music is music, you know, but like one thing I'm really confident in is like my ad libs, bro. My ad libs are just like hard for whatever reason. So if you see me in the studio doing my ad lib tracks, you're probably in the corner laughing because you're like, what the hell is this, bro? I'm making like all types of sounds. I'm just doing whatever like comes to my head. You know what I mean?
Right. I love that you said that because you're like peak Migos with the ad libs. I'm serious, bro.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. I big influence. Yeah.
Yeah. I get on there. I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm just like making like random sounds. I'm like, dude, I don't know what else to say other than yeah or repeat the bar. But you'll go in and you'll have like some very intricate sounds. And I'm like, how the fuck? Like you make it seem easy. Like how could I not think of that? You know?
Yeah, like when I'm recording, man, it's just like a lot of like the songs are hype, and so
yeah,
I'll be like yelling or like there's one ad lib where I'm like, oh, and it sounds like I stubbed my toe or something, or someone like kicked me or something. Like that's what it sounds like. And so a lot of the times when I'm recording with Jordan Kyle, we just like have to stop the track or we just start cracking up, man, because it's just like it's fun. That's the one thing too about music, man, is just like you want to have fun.
You gotta keep it
fun. Know, you want to be serious too about it. Like not everybody needs to be serious, but like if you are serious, also, you know, you should be having fun. You should be enjoying it, you know? And so that's what I enjoy, man, about like, especially the ad libs, bro. Like, it's just hilarious.
Dude, I love that. And you know what else? I love that you said the having fun part, because what I feel like a lot of artists, and if you're an artist listening, I hope that you guys can take this away. I love hearing artists who challenge myself artistically, right? So when you say the having fun part, bro, before I heard your songs, I was sitting there like, not, I won't say depressed, but like when I'm writing like this shit that's like, man, like everyone hates me. This shit sucks. That shit sucks, but I'm doing all right. Fuck you guys, right? Like that's what the tone was. And I go back and listen. I'm like, you know what? Like this is really fucking negative. I love listening to it, and I feel like I'm good at it. And then I hear your stuff, and I'm like, I need to have more fun. Or like Dare the Flare is a good example, right? I hear his shit. I'm like, this just looks fun. So what I love rapping with other artists who, in my humble opinion, are better than me in that facet, and I say, you know what, I want to do that. Do you feel like when you're recording with a Jordan Kyle that you always feel, not just Jordan Kyle but anyone, do you feel like you are pushed, that you are challenged, or do you only challenge yourself?
100%, man. Like I think like before I was like making music, like me and Jordan Kyle have always been homies.
Yeah.
But we weren't like making music together, you know what I mean? We would like barely kick it, you know what I mean? So, but like before that, I was like, most of the time I was recording at my house.
Mm.
And so that was also cool because I get to like kind of like be creative in a certain way where it's like, I'm just like kind of trying like whatever, you know what I mean? And I'm also alone. So I just I could be like silly. I could be like crazy, when I'm recording and like no one's watching me. I could just be like super vulnerable on the mic.
Right.
But when I'm recording with Kyle, bro, it's like that's why like we've been making like all these tracks is because he does push me. You know what I mean? When I'm recording myself, I'm just like, oh, that sounds good. Oh, that sounds good. Right. Yeah. But Jordan Kyle is also a singer. And so he'll like kind of push me, be like, hey man, I think you should do this note. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm like, man, I don't think I could like go that low or go that high, but like he'll like push me and I'll do it. It might take like 20 takes. You know what I mean? I'm not a one take Jake. I'll tell you that. I'm not a one take Jake, bro. Damn. He'll start like plugging me in and stuff. But yeah, he'll like really push me. We'll like, and that's a good thing about working with other people, bro. They really bring like, they kind of unlock that like new part of you where you didn't even know existed. Like, so when you see Kanye, or anybody, it doesn't really matter. Like, but I'm just giving you an example of Kanye because he's taken a lot of artists where you're like, oh, they didn't even make that type of music. Oh, this doesn't even sound like this artist. You know what I mean? So it's just like he kind of like pushes them into a different like genre almost.
Yeah, like super producer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that, dude, that to me is like, and it's not just about Kanye in general. And this is a comment in general. Producers are what make the whole thing go through. People think producer means beat maker. A producer is someone who is like Jordan Kyle. Again, shout out Jordan Kyle, where you say something like, hey, you know what? No, I think you can hit that note like this, because their ear is just always engaged. It's like there's something off about that. Why don't you try it like this? Why don't you try it like that? You tweak maybe the drums, the snares, whatever the hell. I'm the guy that I'm like, do I know what lyrics would sound great right here? But you guys show me a whole different side of it. So what I'm curious about, man, what's next for you? Like, what are you looking forward to next in your journey? It could be personal, it could be music. What are you looking forward to next?
That's a great question, bro. That's like the $1 million question, man. And it's like a question that you will ask yourself every single day, every single minute, right? Like you like have these like goals and then you accomplish those goals and it's just like never ending, right? For right now, I just want to like really hone in on my music, dropping content music wise. And my personal life, I'm married 2 years in.
Congratulations.
And so, thank you, man. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. Get married, y'all.
Yeah, get married, man. Settle down, bro. Come on, bro.
Yeah.
You heard what Young Lean said, right? It was like, make it cool to like get married, have kids and stuff. Yeah, man. So it's like
we can be the first rappers to do that, by the way.
Yeah, make it cool, man. And so next journey for me, man, we'll see. We'll see, man. Everything's, I leave everything up to God, whether like I might have my own plans, but God is the best of planners. So like I might be planning something but God is like, has a better plan for me. So, but I could still do my best and still have plans and try to execute them. But right now, man, I definitely like want to work on my family life, and that's definitely like, as newlywed, that's like a priority. That's like a whole different responsibility, man. Like I think once you get married, that's one responsibility. That's like one crazy responsibility, especially, whether, depends on the spouse, right? But that's the first responsibility, and then let's say like if you decide to have kids or something, that's a whole different responsibility and that's a whole different realm. And I heard that like people who have kids, the first kid, they don't sleep the same ever since, and so
Man, I'm
that's
not looking forward to that part.
yeah.
Do
But
I,
so that's what I'm looking forward to, man. In the future, we'll see, man. We'll see how God plans everything. But I just want to be healthy. I want to live a long life. I want to take care of my parents, financially, physically, in every sense, and live a long, healthy life, and also be true to myself, be a true Muslim. And like, if you honestly, to go back to that question, like, who is Shehbaaz? You know what I mean? Like, I am like in I don't like to like I'm not the type of person to like shove religion down people's throats and stuff like that. But if you were to ask me, and like obviously it's my answer, it's like it's different for everybody. Obviously I'm Shehbaaz because of my parents, but like I would say like before anything, even before Shehbaaz, even before anything, like I am like a Muslim.
right,
And so that just means I am someone who submits myself to God, and that's just like, that can mean many different things. What does
right.
it mean to submit to God, right? And so I am someone who worships my creator, and that can mean many different things too. That can mean like, if someone asks me, what does it mean to worship your creator, right? It's really vague. Um, I could list off like a few things, like smiling to someone is an act of worship. Taking care of your children, taking care of your wife, in any means, like respecting your parents, that's like a form of worship. It's not just like praying 5 times a day, obviously, but that is that too. Praying 5 times a day, you know what I mean? But that's what people kind of like, that's what people might think when you say worship, like, oh, you go to church, you go to the mosque. It's not just that, bro. It's
Yeah,
every single part of your life. Do it the best. Do it with the best intention too. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Like, are you feeding the homeless because someone's watching you? Because someone, no, it's because you want to do something good.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not just about it. A lot of it is about your intentions. So I would say, like, I am a Muslim. I'm someone who submits to God, and I try to live by that. That's like my kind of like that's like my code.
Well, first of all, man, like I appreciate that you said that because what's beautiful about that is uh this probably won't shock you, or maybe it will. I don't know, but I am not Muslim, and what's beautiful about I think life in general, man, is there's no to me there's no place for hatred, and what you just said speaks to me even though I'm not Muslim. Like you're saying, like do everything to the best of your ability, to the best that you can, worship God, and you explain the different ways that you can worship God, and that to me is like it's beautiful because we don't have the same religion
Mm-hmm.
theoretically, we don't have the same beliefs theoretically, but the root of it, when you get down to the root of it, that it's the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, every human has that, man, and this is what I believe. You know what I mean? Every human has that. Whether it doesn't matter like where you're at, doesn't matter if like you've created like, let's just saying like created like crazy crimes, or let's say you're a
Right.
criminal, whatever. Like every single human being, it's in there. I
Yeah.
don't believe there's evil human beings. I think that, everyone has a possibility to be a good person, and I think that's like the innate um, the innate
Nature.
nature. Exactly. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
innate nature of human beings. I think they have that like sense of something of like being good or like doing things, and it doesn't need you don't need to be like Muslim, you don't need to be Christian. Obviously those religions bring those beliefs in and kind of like instill that, but people can still be good people. You'll see that in every single human being, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do agree with that, man. I appreciate you for coming on the show. I appreciate you sharing that message. Where
Of
can the
course,
people
man.
follow you at?
You guys can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. You can follow me at Shehbaaz Murtuza, Shehbaazmurtuza.
There you go. I was gonna
Yeah.
say you're gonna have to spell that for people.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no, I
Every
always
time
have to.
I was putting like SHA and then BAAZ. That one I
That's a
got.
common spelling, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I just want to say again, thank you for coming on the show. Remember, when you think nobody's listening, somebody is.